All right, guys, we got the boat in the water right now, and we have it rigged out with a couple of like key accessories just to get a feel for the boat. We got a Power Pole Move PV on it. We got a Yak Attack Side Stage Pro. Then right here we have a 13x16 Black Pack Pro. Got a little track pack, and then we have the NuCanoe foot pedal with the rudder for stowing and deploying with the 1 foot, back and forth thing. We're gonna get out in the water, and we're gonna give you. It's freezing out here. As you can see, we look like the Michelin Man. It's blowing about 30 miles an hour wind. So yeah, less than ideal conditions, but we're here. Like I said, Mike Minivan and then Fletch from Westbrook Supply decided to make this drive shortly after Christmas, so that way we could, give them the feedback on this boat and then get our hands on it, so that way we can, provide feedback to you to say, hey, is this a new option? Is this a new competitor in the big boat world, competing for the XTRs, the big boats that are out there. And I love the layout of it so far. It's nice and clean, as you can see right here. Can handle the Power Pole Move. So we're gonna get the strap off the front of that motor and get out on the water and kind of see how it does, because I'm pretty excited about this boat, I cannot lie. All right, here we go. Forgot a paddle, but we'll figure it out. This is real live, real time, first impressions. Shake some of the water off my shoes, we'll push out. And here we go. All right, let's get a feel for, man, gymnastics up here. Like, the seat's a little far back, I would say. And let's look at my feet. That's like 1 step. It's not the boat, it's me with the balance. I can get about 2 steps till I get up here. And I don't have the gear pod in here. The gear pod is a cool accessory that you can have. But since I don't have the stow and deploy cables, you may not even need them in this boat because it has so much stability. So check this out. We're gonna pop this up, deploy that motor, and you can literally get right to it and then walk right back to your seat. Let's get this thing going. Got the right remote, yep. Cool. Let me get out here, out in the open, and I'll tell y'all kind of my feels. Like, this is real world. This is the first time I've actually stepped in this boat. Fletch, and I need to get my rudder straight. Let's use this thing right here. Push back. Ooh. Not used to it, so gotta learn it as we go. But yeah, Fletch and them brought it, so literally saw it last night, rigged all this stuff out, put a couple little things on it. Last night as they got in here, we were rigging till dark, till pretty late, and got the move on here. Oop, that's my remote for my other trolling motor. They brought their own move. I feel like I can't see the outside of the boat, because I want to see that teeter. I can't tell, but just based off of how the boat feels and the comparison to when I come up here, it feels like with that motor. So all we have right now is we have the Power Pole Move PV, which is about 54 pounds. We got a Black Pack that has nothing in it, a 13x4 or 13x16 with nothing in it. And then in that battery hatch right there, or back there, I should say, in that new, hub system, or the molded, whatever they call it, there's a 24 volt Dakota Lithium 24 volt 60 amp in there. So majority of the weight on this boat right now is that motor. That weighs probably 2 times, maybe 3 times that 24 volt 60 that's in the back there. And there's a Visicarbon back there, obviously, but yeah, it feels like it's handling the weight pretty good of these bigger bow mounts. But it is. Let's see something. Like, I'm putting 2 feet. I'm 6'2", 6'1", 190 pounds, 195 after breakfast, and I've got all my weight right here. And it's pushing back, kind of like that basketball under. That secondary stability is. Now, I don't want to get too greedy because I don't know this boat's limit. It's kind of windy, but just the just the fact that I could do that and it just doesn't flip isn't a test to the stability of it. I can get up here, like I'm on the bow, 190 pounds plus the trolling motor weight, which I said is like 150, right? Yeah, so 100, you know, almost 250 pounds. Well, what would that be? 190 plus 50, 240 pounds. 250 pounds on the front of this boat, and the butt is really not coming up, and there's not a lot of weight back there, so you know, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, like I was saying, 250 pounds up front. The butt is really not, like I said, I'm not trying to get too greedy here, because I got to learn the boat stability, and it's winter, not the best time to really learn a boat stability, but 250 pounds up front in the boat, like once I'm up here on the front, I can lean both ways and there's still a bunch of stability left. You know, that secondary kicks in and really rebounds nice. So there's not many boats out there on the market that you can, like, I could get up here. It's windy out here, guys, right now, so I'm not really trying to push it because the wind could blow me over. I don't feel like going for a swim, but let's get a little risky. Let's get up here, touch the troll, not turn the trolling motor on, but look at this. Let me get back here. This is 250 pounds up front on the nose, like not near the nose, on the nose. I'd have to stand on the trolling motor to get any further forward. So yeah, that's she's stable for sure. Like just the rocking, she's like, it pushes back good, and it doesn't take a lot to get there. So you know, there's people that have that like initial stability, because most kayaks need that for maneuverability, but it doesn't have a, like, it gets to that stability quick. So yeah, I like this thing. Let's rip around a little bit and let's see how it handles the power. Let's see how it handles 100 pounds of true thrust. Well, disclaimer, we're only going to get to about 70 pounds of true thrust. We're going to get to power setting 17 out of 20 because we're on the 24 volt system. So let's, you know, zig around and see how she handles, you know, this power, because just because it can hold it doesn't mean that the boat, the scuppers, and all that stuff can handle the force that you know, the drag it creates, or the power, whatever you want to say. You know what I'm trying to say, guys. Like, that's impressive. I'm on the front of the boat and I'm standing with my feet close together and it doesn't budge. I'm not wet yet. All right, we're gonna sit down, just kind of get the seat. So just for comparison, for those of you that that have or know about, it is a little bit lower, a little bit, you know, your knee angle is a little up compared to the XTR, and I'm gonna keep comparing it to that boat just because those are the two big boats, and that's gonna be the comparisons, and that's gonna be the buying decisions for a lot of people, the Max or the XTR. It's pretty that simple. And so the knee angle is a little bit you know, for the taller people, your knees are in your, they're not in your chest, but it definitely is lower, but still a good comfortable amount. I'm just used to sitting up on the Eiffel Tower right now, so this just takes me a little bit of adjusting the mind and what my normality is. So let's zip around a little bit. Let's bump this thing. Let's see how she does. Let's see how much authority this little rudder deal has under. So I gotta adjust that angle. Turn my heel back, go hard left. So, you know, under a high stress, let's see. Okay, that's all the way right. Motor's pretty straight, and you can see we're turning. Let's see how much it can. Let's see how much it can over counter. We're going far left. Let's go back to the right. So that's pretty good. I mean, y'all can probably see it with the nose spinning around. And this is like I said, the mic can't do it justice. Hopefully the wind protection is doing its job, and this audio is pretty good. but that rudder does a good job. There's some meat left on the bone to be desired, but that's just because it's a big boat. That rudder wasn't designed for this powerful of a trolling motor with this big of a boat. So yeah, I like it. I'm gonna zip around a little bit, test the high speeds on this, see if I can pull my phone out and get a number on what the top speed is I can get on this thing. Oh, I'm about to get my damn $20 chatterbait. $22 now. By God. See, that's one cool thing about a boat that you can get towards the front of is if you ever hook something, you know, a lot of times your rods are behind you or near you. Hit the reverse on this thing. So if you do happen to get hung up, you can just walk to the front and get to your lure a lot better than, you know, if you were back here and then you got 5 foot of boat in front of you, your rod's only 7 foot, you don't get, sometimes you got to get your rods tangled up. So I do like that a lot. Not that you want to be getting hung up, but y'all know what I mean. Right, Mike? If you ain't getting hung up, you're not throwing in the right spots.
Exactly. You can't get it out unhung, then you're on the wrong vessel.
That's right. All right, guys, I don't have a graph or anything on this boat, but like I said, we are running a 24 volt system. So let's see what we can get to. We're going against the wind, so it's not really a true rating. Let's see what we get going this way. So we're going into the wind, getting 5.5. We're getting 5.5 miles an hour into the wind on power setting 17. So if you had a 36 volt battery, you still have, you know, 3 more increments of power to go. So I like that. Here's what we're gonna do. Little thing you can do with a, should have brought my Rogue phone leash with me. I'm nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, as they say. For the most part, like a general rule of thumb, is if you can get your bow mount down, it's usually the fastest. Obviously, that depends on your loadout, and that depends on kind of how you've got things set up to adjust this collar. Be sure that the collar is in line. And let's try it again. Oh yeah. We're gonna go out here to the main wind, or to 5.3 going into a pretty good headwind on setting 17. That's pretty good. Let's go back the other way, see what we can kind of do. And, you know, basic math will say the middle between the two numbers from the high and the low would be your actual speed on flat water. Let's see what we get going this way. The boat doesn't lift a lot either. I really like that. It's got enough volume in the back to where it doesn't just end up doing a wheelie. So now we are at, so we're about 0.15 miles an hour faster. We got to 6, so yeah, 5.5 is the number. That's a real good number for a bow mount on a boat this big. Like I said, once again, we are on a 24 volt system that does not unlock the full potential of the move. A 36 volt system, knowing how the motor works and the way that it does things, I would say we would get about 6.2. Obviously that depends on the whole design, and I may have to shift the weight a little bit to, because it's going to lift a little bit. No boat's just going to not let this motor lift. One thing I will say is that new mount that they got, or the prototype, it's not really new. It's in the works right here. Take this off real quick. This mount right here is actually, it's doing a good job of not tilting. It's very sturdy because they're utilizing that new handle up front, the bolt patterns. So yeah, that's pretty cool, pretty impressive. Oh, Mikey got him a fish. Ooh, heck yeah. Let's see how this thing does. You know, a big thing for me is, how does a boat handle? How does it handle, you know, big, like that's pretty, like how does it handle jerkiness, you know? It's because that torque, you don't want to, you know, throw yourself out of the boat. And it handles it pretty good to go. We're gonna go left. I don't feel the boat, you know, twisting. It's doing a good job of staying level. Let's go back the other way. We're only on power 9. Let's go to 11. Ease our comfort in. So we're going back the other way. Does a good job of, you know, whoo, that was me. Does a good job of, you know, having, what's the word? Does a good job of, you know, giving you some cushion to where, you know, if you accidentally got this motor a little far to the left, or you bump it, you know, you're at a high speed and you bump it with, you know, you're going, running across the lake at a high speed, you bump the remote on accident, hit the buttons too many times, there's a little bit of a delay, and it jerks, the boat doesn't just flip. Because if you have a boat that's doesn't have a good stability, what's going to happen is you're going to turn that motor and it's going to twist the boat. Just imagine like this is the boat and then it twists it, and then it's going to put so much pressure on one gunnel to go the other way, eventually it's going to flip. And I don't think this boat would do it even at the highest setting. But I always do recommend, like with these powerful trolling motors, have a rudder, and under high power, like if you're on a high power, you're running across the lake, I like to say over about 4 miles an hour, never steer with the remote. Always steer with some kind of foot control rudder or this little 1 foot thing. I actually like this little 1 foot thing because, like, if you're standing, right? If you're standing and you need to add a little bit of left or a little bit of right, you can do it with 1 foot, and it's pretty smooth. You know, with normal foot pedals, you gotta like kick one or the other. This is just get on 1 foot. This boat is plenty of stable to get on 1 foot. Like, it's literally like you can do the crane up here and the boat handles it. So I like this boat. It's a I think it's going to be a good addition to the kayak community, no doubt. Yeah, but this is 250 pounds on the nose, and it handles it well. Like, I'm on the nose. The scuppers let a little bit of water in, but there's no boat that if you put 300 pounds on the front, there's not going to be a little bit in it. But as soon as I go back this way, it vacates. All right, guys, so here's another thing. I'll take this camera off real quick. A boat could handle, let's say they could handle that trolling motor, right? They could handle the move and the amount of power it creates. But what will happen with a lot of boats is the scuppers, as you gain speed, because it kind of puts the butt end a little bit, you flood the tank well. And then eventually you're going to flood it. If you just kept on and kept going and kept going, you would flood it, and then you would exceed the weight capacity of the boat, and then eventually it's going to flip. This boat, under the highest power setting, let me bump it up a little bit. Look. And I don't even know if these scuppers are right. I don't even know if they're not letting water in. This one is, but that is for the transducer mount. So if I just got another one of those scuppers, or I put the transducer and it blocked it off, it would be just fine. But you can see all the scuppers, they may bubble a little bit, but that's just because it's windy, doing a great job of handling all that power. Because there's going to be a lot of people that put this trolling motor on this boat, and this is about as powerful as it can get. So yeah, NuCanoe, good job. I like it. This boat is a pre-production, so I will say the deck is stiff. You know, a big question is going to be the deck, like how durable is it, how is it going to handle, whoop, that's my stability, not the boat, how is it going to handle big dudes stepping on it. And I'm putting all my weight on these corners, and it is a little, you know, soft, but that's just because on these, the XTR was the same way when we first got them. When you get this pre-production models, they're a little bit softer, so anything better than this, like this is like I think it would work. You could send it out in the market, but they're gonna thicken it up in the factory and get that shot weight right. It feels good. It actually feels really good. Like even if I got on a corner, which is going to be the softest and weakest spot, like put 2 toes on it, does a good job. It's pretty stiff in the middle. Most people are going to have a little bit wider stance. Now I will say, if I'm going to knock this boat, this stance, this right here, get out the way, remote. Put this in my jacket real quick. This stance right here is, I'm pretty narrow. Narrow as far as, what's the best way to put it? I am shoulder width right here. So let me face this back camera, y'all can see me here. If I put my toes, obviously it kind of depends on where you're at. If I put my toes, I'm shoulder width. I can't go past shoulder width, which I would like a little bit more for, you know, standing sideways to fish off the back of the boat, if you're on a point, you know, whatever it might be. But I understand the give and take with it, with the internal rod holder thing. Then they have a track that runs right here from pretty much the front of the boat where you would mount anything with the track, and then they have this extra track right here for the gear pod for it to go into. But this main track right here, you kind of see that space. This boat's, I forget, I think it's 40 something, 41. I'll put it on the screen, I'll look it up. Might be the widest boat out there, or just match the wider ones out there. But this track that runs all the way down, kind of lose a little bit of cockpit, which isn't terrible, but it's just something to note that you're going to be, you know, if you want to be at home and you're sitting on the couch, you want to say, what's it like? It's you know, like a good squat. Just stand with your shoulders. So it's a good boat. Good. I like the layout. So here's one more thing that's actually pretty cool. So like this is the seat. I could fold that seat forward, depending on your rod configuration. You could spin the seat all the way around, but like let's just say you needed to get back here, whether you didn't use that for a battery box and you have a Torpedo battery, so you don't need batteries in there, put your rain suit in there, put your lunch box in there, you can get back here. Let me see. So I don't know what this camera can see, but like I'm standing between the seat and the black pack, and there's a little bit of a gap for those of you that know what the Dakota lithium power box is. Powering this camera right here, so you got that, then 16 inches, and I can still, you know, get to these latches. Actually, you know what, let me just do it instead of just talking about it. These latches are legit, like they're tight. Move that power cable out the way. So like if you needed to get back here, you could. Like that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that feature. Like, because there's gonna be a lot of people that run Torpedoes, or they run a external battery that they don't need to put in here. Put one battery for your electronics, depending on your loadout, if you need to get some weight in the back. But this would be very cool for you know, your rain suit, your lunchbox, your car keys, your wallet. Look how deep this lip is. Like, hold on, that is to that middle knuckle right there. Let's see. Yeah, to that middle knuckle. So yeah, that's pretty deep. So it would take a lot of water. You can see right there. Can you see that red? Let's see. See that red right there? So Mike, he put, or Mikey as we call him, put paint on it and sprayed water hose around it to see if it would leak. He did it for this hatch, the new plate. I don't know if that's new for NuCanoe, but the power port plates, like the one on the front that the Max port plate's in. He said he had no water and he was like pressure washing it. So that's pretty cool. So it's a good design. So if you needed to get back here, you could. And that's nice. You need to get to the back of your black pack, you can put put a lunchbox, you know, whatever. You do you. Let me close this back up real quick. The latch just goes like that. Those things are almost like too tight because they make a lot of noise when you put them in. So if you're shallow, if you need to go shallow, you need to think about getting whatever you're getting out of there before you go shallow and spook some fish. So clip that back on there. But same thing, right? I'm in the back of this boat, 190 plus the weight of a Visicarbon plus the weight of a pole, boomstick, and a DJI, and just a black pack and 24 volt 60. You know what? Let's do it. Why not, right? Let's do it. Let's get risky. We're shallow enough. We got enough people here. I can get to a fire quick enough if I fall in. I don't know if I want to stand on that hatch, but let's put let's get. So check this out. I'm standing on the back of this boat. My foot's right here. I'm using another foot to brace on the knee because that's a pre-production molded lid. And look, very little water coming through the scupper. Very little. I don't care what boat you're in. There's going to be a little bit when you put this much weight on a kayak centralized in the back. And we rock back and forth. She's stable, boys. She's stable, boys and girls. So yeah, actually, let's just do it for the gram. And I'm spot locked. So check this out. We're standing on the back of the boat right now, surfing, right? Woo! Gonna get a little too cocky here and hope that spot lock don't go left or right. Actually, you know what? Let's turn that off real quick. That's risky. So as you can see, standing on the back. That's the back of the boat. That's the rudder. And she's got no problems at all handling the weight. So yeah. All right, guys. I think I've done enough talking about my first impressions of this boat and just the capabilities of it. So let's try to catch a fish. You know, it's only right we try to catch a fish because that's what we're buying the kayak for. I think that's about what I'm comfortable, you know, saying. I need to spend some time in it, learn how she reacts to things. Let's kind of see how she is when you're not just, you know, honed in on. Just a little too fast. You're not paying attention to what you're doing, and you're just, the focus is fishing. Let's see if we can't catch a fish. Now, if I was going fishing for real, like I'm in this boat, got to go win some money, probably would not be throwing a chatterbait right now. It's literally been 75 degrees the last 5 days, and now it's 20, 30 mile an hour wind. So I think it would be safe to say the bite is probably going to be a slower shutdown and not as good of a day, especially for the bank beater. But we're going to see if we can't find this one little dumb one. All right, guys, we fished this whole bank right here. We fished it. This bank always has fish on it. Fished this lake thousands of times, always catch fish. We're not gonna beat a dead horse when we just know it's a tough bite, and definitely ain't gonna be a bite on the bank. But I just want to say something real quick. Did some of that blind fishing, like I was talking about, to where can I just do my own thing, not pay attention to the boat, not pay attention to where my feet are having to go, and kind of just mindly fish so I can focus all my energy on fishing. This tank well, cockpit, whatever you want to call it, the tank well would be the back. So this is the cockpit. It's got enough room on it. It really does. Even, you know, I'm used to it being a little narrower or a little wider right now, just because the past year I've been fishing out of the XTR. So I'm used to a little bit wider and just fishing down the bank like I normally would, paying attention. Sometimes I like to stand, you know, just reverse it. Well, actually, I like to stand at a little bit of a 45 when I'm fishing. You know, may need to position your body a little bit better to get that angle on that dock, on that tree, lay down, whatever it might be. And it's got a good amount of room in here. It really does. And, you know, with me, I like to utilize forward-facing sonar when it's applicable, or when it's, you know, when that's the bite. And with me having a turret, which is a foot button, something that's gonna have to be very important for me is, can I get on one foot and, you know, touch that foot pedal, put a lot of pressure on one hip, feel confident in the stability? And I haven't done it, but just from, you know, the experience that I have, and I would trust it. I really would. It's got a good, like, I mean, I literally, the wind is blowing 25 miles an hour, and you can hit the crank. And so put one foot, like, you know, the foot pedal would be in the middle, so I would tap that foot pedal, tap it left, right. And if that's not you, you don't have a turret, you know, that's not even a problem. You would just have your seat right here, you'd have your little turret, you'd be doing your thing with your hand tilt. All is well for those of you that are live scopers, because there's going to be a lot of guys that are, you know, utilizing FFS, dual graphs, trolling motor on this boat, because that's what this boat was built for. It was, you know, Chad said it would be a great boat to, you know, leave it stripped down, but to have the volume to get in the back of those flats. God, this boat would be so fun on Gunnersville for pitching and flipping, remove everything up here, just having this room to walk up here, do your thing, would be amazing. But this boat is going to have a lot of those that are like me, and they have a lot of stuff on their boat, and it'll handle it, no doubt in my mind. Like, that's 2 full steps. What's cool about it is, you know, the XTR has about the same walking room, but you got to go up on a deck. And for some people, maybe going up or going down is what's going to put them in the water. This is just one big trough all the way through, so it's literally like do 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 do, just dance around back and forth, and the stability is there and the room is there. So I'm very impressed with this boat, to say the least. And this is less than ideal conditions to test it out, so if it performs this well now, I can only imagine when it's, you know, the right conditions. Let's head back to the ramp and let's see what we can get. I mean, going into wind, this is like 15-20 mile an hour wind. She's scooting. So what that's really big for is, like, somebody's got to cross a lake, somebody's got to, you know, cross a channel, somebody's fishing down by a dam or a spillway. You know, you may not want to run at 6 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour, but you want to have that ability to get back to the ramp quick, or you know, go through current. And so the fact that it can hit these high speeds, like this is 5.1 miles an hour, 5.25 basically, and I don't even have the last 3 power settings of the trolling motor with the 24 volt system, and it's getting these speeds. Like, so if you're somebody who has a 12 volt system already and you want to get this motor, and you don't want to do the whole having to swap to 36, just adding an extra 12 volt battery, you don't have to go to that 36 if you don't need or / want a Ford, whatever it might be. It does great in the 24 volt systems, no doubt. So I'm gonna head in and get in here on the bank, and I'll kind of give you my my closing thoughts, trying to get used to that little foot pedal thing, because it's definitely, I like it, it's unique, but it takes some getting used to. So we're gonna get up here on the bank and I'll kind of give you my final thoughts. I forgot my paddle, so good thing I can get up here, because watch this. We're gonna have to hand operate this bad boy. Let's get to the bank. Perfect. So guys, there it is. That is my that's my first impressions of the NuCanoe Unlimited MAX. She ain't got much on it. We just wanted to get a feel for her as she is naked, and she performed very well. Want a huge shout out to Mikey. Huge shout out to that man right there. They drove all the way from Atlanta right after Christmas to come here and let us test this brand new boat out.
Of course.
You're a diehard NuCanoe fan, and I think NuCanoe knocked it out of the park with this one.
Oh,
just
man.
like every boat, you know.
Yeah.
There's no perfect boat out there, but there is.
It's something for somebody.
There's a good boat out there, and I think this is going to fit the Unlimited family and the NuCanoe lovers amazingly.
Yeah,
so
man.
I appreciate you
Of course.
driving down here, bringing the boats, bringing the moves, getting us hooked up, and
Man, huge shout out for NuCanoe for allowing me to do such things. You know, to be being able to get out here. Huge shout out to Westbrook Supply Co. as well to for him tagging along with us to help load and unload these kayaks and help rig it. So grateful for these two great companies. So man, grateful to be here to hang out with you and the Chad somewhere. He's over here.
I think he's thawing out up there because he don't have the Michelin Man clothes.
By the way, I did catch a fish though.
Did
so
you?
I
so
did.
you won. We didn't catch any fish. So
y'all didn't catch a fish.
Guys, if you're in the Atlanta area, you're gonna make the drive, like he said, be sure to check out Westbrook Supply, and then follow him on Insta. What's your Instagram?
Yak with Mike.
Yak with Mike. So follow him on Instagram. Fletch Griffin. A lot of y'all know Fletch. Fletch don't need any introduction. He's known in the kayak community. So, but guys, that is it. That is my first impressions of this new boat, the NuCanoe Unlimited MAX. So y'all drop a comment. Be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to know about this boat, because Blake is planning on getting us 2 of these boats. One for me to rig out for the bow mounted minded person, and I'm going to completely deck it out, and then Chad's going to get one to do the the stern mount, more sleek shallow water sniper game. So yeah, y'all be sure to drop a comment, and we'll see y'all in the next video. All right guys, so we got here to the bank, and we're just talking. I'm just talking with the old man about the boat. He's got his over here with a Torpedo on it, but he wants to ask me some questions and kind of I struggle a lot with having a lot in my head, but I struggle with how to get it out. You gonna frame me up a little? There you go.
I'm trying to get the boat in the background.
It's good, right here, bam.
It's called the rule of thirds,
So,
bro. I know how to
anyways, so he's gonna ask me some questions, and then he's pretty much gonna pick my brain for y'all, for me, type deal. So what you got?
All right, the first question is how you are doing the power pole move. Yep. It's actually one of the heaviest motors in the game, and it's also one of the most powerful. But we only have a 24-volt battery.
Yeah, I've already talked to the people about all this.
So that being said, well, I just want to ask the questions that I want answers to, because they'll probably want the same thing. How do you feel it performs with a 24-volt battery? Do you think you necessarily need the 36-volt battery? And then how do you just talk to us about the performance of this boat overall with the bow mount, specifically the move? Like, talk to me, talk me through it.
So my experience with the move, what are you trying to make me look like, a little minion? My experience with the move is on the XTR, and it performs flawlessly on that boat. One thing I noticed about this boat and with this, and like I said, like I keep saying because I want to reiterate it, it's been reiterated 15 times now, we are on a 24-volt system, so we lose about 25 pounds of thrust. We lose that last 25 pounds of true thrust because we're only allowed to go to setting 17 and not 20. So even with the limited power, I felt like this boat, there's not a lot of weight back here. It's not rigged out. It's pretty much a bare boat with a battery in the back, and that is way heavier than the battery we have because it's just a 2460. What is that? Do you know what that battery weighs? Maybe 20 pounds? 23. So that's twice as heavy as the motor, and the boat didn't lift, which is good. You don't want the boat to lift so much, because then what that's going to do is going to get that prop angle, and the prop's going to want to be shooting out of the water, and so you lose performance. And I felt like this boat, it didn't squat. Obviously, I don't have a lot of weight back here. I don't have tackle batteries, to help that pendulum go down. But I felt like with the whole design, we were talking about one thing up here. You can see right here, this hole comes up, and they did that. Mikey said it was to help with water and stuff. It did a really good job, or to splash water out. But what it also does is it gets the motor out, and it's got a lift to it, and it's a little bit higher out of the water, initially. So I feel like this motor does a very good job of handling the power. Kind of going around my elbow to get to my booty cheeks, but it does a very good job. I think that's the most powerful trolling motor out there that I know of. I don't know the Kraken specs. I don't know the people putting the Quests and stuff. but it is the most powerful, and so if it can handle that, it can pretty much handle anything.
So would you say it's move rated?
Oh yeah, no doubt in my mind that this boat can handle that motor and should be. Obviously, I understand the price constraint on it, but yes, it is move approved. It is move approved. No doubt in my mind that it can handle it. Absolutely love this boat. No, it's going to fit the market well, and I'm looking forward to, getting one from Blake and really dialing in it and taking it fishing and get that real life experience. We can only do so much here when you're so focused on the boat, but once you can get your mind off of focus and just go fishing and see how the boat fits you, it's going to be a fun one, no doubt. I think it's going to fit the market well.
Again, I'm not the bow mount expert. That's why we brought you out here. One of the things that I observed kind of just looking at the boat design and looking at the hull design, and I have a lot of experience in that, is the fact that it carries the volume, up to the front a lot before it starts to taper. So I pretty much knew that was going to be sufficient to float it. I also noticed that the hull doesn't carry forward to the point that when the motor starts to power, that it's not going to be designed to lift the nose, and it also carries a lot of volume all the way to the back. In fact, it doesn't start tapering until you get well past the NuCanoe logo, or actually maybe right behind the flush mounts. So then I knew that was going to be sufficient volume to keep it from, when the nose comes up on a bow mount, it sucks the butt end down. I also knew that NuCanoe having the scuppers plugged was going to go a long ways towards preventing the boat from flooding, and that was going to help with performance. What I didn't know, and I wanted you to answer, was with that weight up front and you standing in the middle of the boat, was that keel going to serve to keep the boat from wanting to spin like a top even with the bow mount on it? So that question was pretty well answered, and I felt like that keel, and I was watching you out there just looking at how smooth, even with these whipping winds, it looked pretty smooth, to be honest with you.
It's a smooth boat.
And it really looks like it would be very manageable. Like you're using the bow mount, you're going along, you could use the foot pedal to steer if you want to, if you're sitting down, but if you're standing up, it looks like it would be very manageable. Like it would be very easy to make adjustments and you wouldn't have to fight the boat. Is that the right way to explain it? You know what I'm saying? You don't fight the boat. So with that being said, give me like another 20-second, 30-second of like the boat management when it comes to fishing, if that makes sense.
But it does, it handles well. It finds its mark, as y'all saw when I was down there over on that bank. I wanted to focus on fishing and ignore the boat. I did that. The boat with the vector mode where, it stays on a track, fighting the wind at a 45, it did a good job of saying, let me stay on this plane, because sometimes people think that the trolling motor, right? They get that trolling motor and they put that vector mode and it's going left and right, left and right. And there's a lot of trolling motors out there that have a bad GPS compass system in it, and they go, this damn trolling motor, right? Sometimes it's not the trolling motor's fault. Sometimes it's the boat's fault, and the trolling motor is trying to compensate for the boat's, incompetence. And so it's having to fight it, and this boat did a really good job of saying, let me stay on my track that my owner set, and he said go this way, and it stayed that way. I do feel like I will say the rudder needs a little more. I don't know if he needs to make it stainless steel. This is all stuff that this trip was for, so we are learning these things, but just for those of you that are looking to purchase this boat, soon,
just a little thicker, a little more
it gets the job done, but there is some meat or some desire to be had left on this boat. So that's pretty much all I got, guys. Like I said, once again, drop a comment below. What questions do you have about this boat? Because we are getting two of them. We're going to rig them two completely different ways because that's how the kayak fishing world is right now. Either you're a stern mounter or you're a bow mounter. Each have their pros and each have their cons, and each fit everybody differently. So we're going to build one for the best bow mount and one best for the stern mount, like Chadwick's got over there. And we'll be done.
I got one last question. Got one last question for you. One of the biggest, constraints or drawbacks for me when it comes to a bow mount is the raising and lowering, right? And then having it so far up there, and my big ass not wanting to climb up over the deck and all that kind of stuff. Did you find it being a big advantage that you literally could just walk right up to the motor if you needed to? And did you like try that at all?
I did. I literally don't have a paddle. Don't have a paddle on this boat right here. So I had to, y'all saw it when I came here to the ramp. I just got up to the front, timed it right, and then, you know, as soon as I got close, pulled the trolling motor up and went back the other way. I feel like I'm 190. You're a little more than 190. I feel like even with your weight, you'd be fine. I had Mikey out there, and I was out here in the back of the boat, and I said, hey, I was up here on the front, and I said, how big or how high up is the ass end? And he was like, it's really not that high. I was like, for having almost 300 pounds on the front and it not being, and there's nothing in the back, did a really good job. So, like I said, guys, thanks to, what's my screen doing? Here we go. So, is that it? Can I finally get out of here?
I mean, that was the questions I wanted. They're going to want answered. It's the questions I'm seeing in the comment section. So I wanted you to be able to answer them firsthand, just in case you didn't answer them out there, because you tend to take some of this stuff for granted because you do it every day. All right.
So, see y'all on the next one.